Hi everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. This is Studio ONE11. This is our first video ever. Today we're going to be learning how to sew a t-shirt. We will be using a serger for the majority of this t-shirt. If you do not have access to a serger, you can use a zigzag stitch on a home machine, or a regular straight stitch will also work. If you do not have a pattern, look in the caption box below and you'll be able to see a link to our Etsy studio where we have different patterns available for purchase. Alright, let's get started. So we're going to get started by putting the front and the back together at the shoulder seam. The red X shows which side of the fabric is the incorrect side. So at this point you should have the correct sides of the fabric touching each other, facing each other, and the incorrect side facing you, facing up. So everything when you're sewing is always going to be inside out. Once the shoulders are sewn together, we're going to grab our neck ribbing and stitch it together to create a circular shape. After it's stitched together, you can fold it in half to create a nice clean folded edge on one side, matching the two raw edges together. We're going to go ahead and just iron that down and add some steam to make sure that fold stays perfect. Next, you're going to want to align the raw edges of the ribbing to the neckline of the body. The seam should align perfectly with one shoulder, and then the three remaining notches should align with the center front, center back, and other shoulder. You might notice that the ribbing is slightly smaller than the neckline. This is totally normal, and what this does is after it's sewn, it's going to create the perfect hugging effect of the neck. You want to make sure that when you're sewing it, you're pulling on it a little bit so that the notches stay aligned and there's not any leftover ease. Now this next part is optional. You're going to take a small piece of a very light fabric. In this case, we used a heavier fabric for the actual t-shirt, so we used just a light jersey for this part, but if you're using a light fabric for your actual t-shirt, you can go ahead and use that. You're going to cut it in the same length that the back neck measurement is. You're going to fold it in half, and you're going to fold in the edges, the raw edges on the sides. You're going to align the raw edges and stitch them together. If it happens that you are using a bulkier fabric or something a little bit heavier, you can go ahead and instead of just serging these together, you can just straight stitch them so that there's not added extra bulk. So now you can take the seam allowances and create an edge stitch just above that seam. You want to flip the binding down completely and now stitch the binding and the shirt together. There should be an exposed stitching on the back neck on the outside of the shirt after this. We're going to go ahead and attach the sleeve now. You want to start by putting the sleeve on the armhole of the body. You want to make sure that you're putting the correct sleeve on the correct side. You should have notches that will mark exactly which side goes with which. Be aware that since this is a curved edge, it may take a little bit more time and patience than anything else. This is how the sleeve should look after being sewn to the armhole. And then you want to repeat this for the other side. The next step is to close the side seam and the undersleeve. You're going to want to align the underarm seams together. The edges of the sleeve and the edges of the body. Your sleeve should be folded in half, and the front body and the back body should be together. You're going to want to repeat this on the other side. Next, we're going to want to fold up the hem allowance on the sleeves. It'll be about 3 centimeters or 1 1/8 inches. I recommend creating a guideline. You can use any cardstock that you have at home or hard paper. For example, here I'm using my 3 centimeter guideline to be able to fold up the perfect amount for my hem. So the final steps here are going to be to cover stitch the sleeve hem and the hem of the body. If you don't have access to a cover stitch, that's totally fine. You have a few options. You can either serge the edge and then do a double top stitch with a straight stitch machine. You can do a single zigzag stitch, or if you don't have access to any of those, you can just do a regular double straight stitch without serging or zigzagging. Most importantly is when you're doing this, you want to make sure that the hem on the underside is being caught by the stitching that you're doing on top. So you just want to make sure that when you're folding over the hem, it's perfect and it's consistent all throughout. And that is it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments or send us an email, send us a DM. We'll definitely respond. Please like and subscribe and let us know what other tutorials you want to see. Thank you. Bye.